I'm going to flush the coolant in my 2007 Dodge Grand Caravan out of the radiator. Just the setup on this, you'll need some distilled or deionized water. You'll need some antifreeze coolant. I'm using Prestone 50/50, and then you don't have to, but I bought in the small thing is a bottle of Prestone Flush and Cleaner. I'm gonna just use that to get rid of any calcified, not calcified, but minerals that have built up in the inside of the cooling system. Safety, so jack your car up, use a jack stand, use gloves. I'd wear eye protection because this stuff is pretty caustic. Now a little size up on this car, and this is very similar to like virtually every car. We've got a radiator cap that is that keeps the pressurized coolant in the cooling system in the car. There's an overflow valve over here, so if you need to top up your coolant later on, you do it through here, and then there's a little overflow if the car heats up and the coolant spills out. The way the heating system works is we've got a radiator in there. You fill it up via the cap right there. Just a word of caution, if your car is warm, do not open that cap because the coolant will spray out. Let it cool down a little bit. The way the cooling system works is you've got a reservoir here, which is the radiator. Holds, in this car, 12.5 liters or about 12 quarts of coolant mixed with distilled water. We use distilled water, by the way, because the heat inside the heating system, cooling system, I guess, will convert the minerals that are in tap water and sediment them, precipitate them, and it'll gunk up your cooling system, which is why I'm using the flush. So the way this works, when the car begins to warm up, the engine gets hot and you need to cool it down. So the coolant, the 12 liters of coolant, washes through the engine. It keeps coming back to the radiator. Radiator's got a lot of holes through it, I guess, so the air from the front of the car cools the coolant down. The other main thing in the cooling system is, you know, when your car warms up and you want heat, you flip on the switch on the inside. That then activates on the inside of the engine a access to the heater core, which is a reservoir of coolant adjacent to the air duct that pushes warm air into your car. So the engine has to heat up before the cooling system has access to the heater core. So what I'm going to do in this video is just show you that you need to drain the radiator a couple of times, and you'll be starting the car up, turning on the heater to open up the heater core to get all the coolant that's housed in there out of the system. If you do this at a garage, they'll have a proper flushing tool or system where they'll be able to get all 12 liters out all in one go. We're doing it at home, so we'll drain and refill the radiator a couple times, turn on the car, start the heating, get the car warm, let the coolant flush through the system and pick up any let the distilled water flush through the system and pick up any excess coolant that's in the system, and then we'll do that a couple times and drain all the coolant out. Then at the end of this, I'll refill it with the coolant. In the middle, by the way, one of the drains will involve adding the flush. All right, so a bit long-winded, but I just wanted to set this up properly. First step, I take a plastic bucket. You'll be filling this up more or less, depending on how many flushes you do. By the way, when you're done with this, seal it off, put the cap on, and bring it to a local fluid change shop. The guys that do oils and things like that, they'll take it for free. In this car, I'm looking toward the front. You can see up there the red drain plug. You can access that from down here, but it's actually easier to access it from above via the hood. Okay, so what you'll do is turn that counterclockwise, and that will release the fluid. You can kind of see it through there. There's a little drain plug right in the middle between those two silver fittings, and if you want, you can connect a piece of tubing, maybe it's ½ inch, maybe 3/8 or a quarter, to the little drain plug in the bottom. I can't really see it through there, but I find it's very hard to get to, and the coolant just flushes out over the plastic and into the bucket. I'll show you where the location of the drain is. So just coming in from above, it's red. You can't really miss it. There it is. So that's the drain. That's the shutoff valve, I guess. So you twist that counterclockwise, and then the coolant will pour out the bottom below out of the drain plug. There's the coolant pouring out. Now I've already done this once or twice, so this is more or less water. But yours will probably be greenish depending on the coolant you use. Before you open up the valve, relieve the vacuum in the system by opening up the radiator cap. I chose to do the flush because when I opened up the radiator cap, I've cleaned it now, but this was really a lot of precipitate on the inside, and I've cleaned it off. You can see how much I was able to pull off. So I figured if it was if the minerals were highly precipitated up here, inside must be all gunked up as well. Now you're going to do this twice. Go back into the hood and close off the red valve. Then this is 4 liters of deionized water, distilled water, on virtually the same thing. Pour it in. I use a little funnel. Pour that into the radiator till it gets to about 1 inch from the top. I've refilled it with 6 liters, and you can see the bubbling from the top of the radiator hose there. That's just air gradually escaping out of the system. So don't be fooled. Keep doing this until you see no more bubbles or no more air escaping. I've now refilled it. I'm going to let this car warm up now. That's important because we need to get the water pump activated to start pumping water through. The water pump, just out of interest, there's a serpentine belt spinning right there. That spins, and one of the, well, you can't see it buried in there, maybe it's right there, is the water pump. The water pump will activate when the engine reaches a certain temperature, operating temperature, and then it will start to circulate all the water through. At that point, this will take 5 minutes maybe. At that point, you need to turn the heater on in your car up high as it will go, and hot. And what that will do is then force the water into the heater core in the middle of the engine and suck out all the flush or coolant from there. Right? My car has been running for a couple of minutes. It was quite cold overnight, so it might take a bit. If I want to accelerate the process, I can just pull those wires, send more gas and air into the engine, warm it up more quickly, and then let your car run at 10 minutes with the heater wide open like that. You'll do this twice. The third time you fill it up will be with the coolant. Okay, so that's the last time. If you are choosing to do a flush the way I have, drain twice, drain and refill twice. On the second refill, take your flush and pour it in the middle of the procedure. Make sure that there's room at the top of the radiator for the flush. And then there's 2 ways of doing the flush. You can leave it in there just for a few hours. That'll get rid of all the main gunk. Or you can leave it in for a day or two, and the Prestone recommends let it run for 3 to 6 hours, which I've done. My car ran with the heater on for 10 minutes. I then opened up the drain. I drained it a little bit, allowed the pressure to dissipate. So then I opened up the cap, radiator cap, and let the whole thing drain out. You can probably hear it trickling. Now, that was the last drain. What I'll do now is seal it back up and fill up the entire radiator with my Prestone 50/50, and I'm going to top it off with the remaining deionized water. I think all in all, probably both of those will go into the radiator, so 4 liters plus there's 2 remaining liters in there. 6 liters total will work. That's about half the fluid capacity of this. It's been flushed 3 times. I think the cooling system is very, very clean and good to go. On an ending note, I'll just say one thing. There's a lot of air in the system, so what you could do is grab this hose, squeeze that, and that will push all the water out of this, or the air out of this hose and into the engine, and you can see what happens over here. So to me, when I'm squeezing that hose, the whole system looks fairly full of water because my squeezing is pushing the water up. What I would do is come back, drive the car for a day, maybe two. Come back, open up the radiator cap, and just see where the water level is. And you might need to top it up. And do that, I don't know, once, maybe twice. Okay? Good luck.